have the greatest guitarists come out of Texas. I don't know what it is about Texas, but like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Billy Gibbons, Lightning Hopkins, they were all Texan, weren't they? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And
yeah.
speaking of guitar, I did see on your IMDb, like on your reel, you play a little guitar yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, before I started acting, I was in various bands and touring and doing all that. Didn't make any money. But if you go into it to make money, then 99.9% of people are going to be really disappointed.
Yeah.
you just, you just got to love doing it. I loved it. I love gigging. I've played all over Europe and played Glastonbury a few times. So it's
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
Does that kind of come into play like when you're auditioning? Do people like request that you
Well,
know?
actually, yeah. If you look at my show reel, which I think is on IMDb, there's a scene where I'm just like playing the guitar, and I played a sort of a washed up '80s musician that had one hit that got to sort of like number 50 in the charts or something, and I'm just talking about sort of like my life as a rock star in that. So that really helped. I went to the audition and I sort of like just dressed the part. I had my guitar. I was like, yeah, I can play this. I even wrote the song that I was meant to have played like during the 80s, and I recorded it at home, and I just used like 80s amps and 80 synths and everything. So yeah, that got me the part that time.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are those the type of projects that you like, or are you like a horror guy, or like what do you prefer?
So Winnie the Pooh was the first like proper horror that I did,
Yeah.
and they're great fun.
Yeah.
It's just a blast. And if you can have fun doing it, then you're doing something right. But yeah, I love horror. I love doing comedy as well. Just a really well written comedy where you just you can deliver everything really straight and get the laughs that way. I do enjoy that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Blood and Honey, my audience definitely had a great time.
Oh,
It's
brilliant.
it's definitely kind of, teeters the line of horror and comedy and just fun in general.
Yeah.
So, considering this is your first horror film, how did you get involved with it?
Well, I just saw an advert on one of the acting websites, and to be honest, I hadn't heard of it. I don't do a great deal of social media or anything. If I switch the computer on, I'm checking emails or I'm going onto YouTube because I can't work out how to play a song or something. So I don't really, sort of like dabble in social media much. And I saw this advert, and it just said it wanted a character for a film called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And I just read the title and I was like, hell yeah, maybe some of that. Yeah. So just the title, it just sold it to me. I was like, yeah, I want to be involved in something called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That sounds awesome.
So after that point, I guess reach out, and then at what point do you kind of do they give you like an idea of what you're actually going to be doing? Like, how did that process kind of happen?
I contacted them. They got back to me, and I think sort of based on the look and the show reel, said yeah, we'll get you on board. Here's the script. And they just at that point, they just sent me my little part of the script. And I just read that, and I was like, yeah, I'm up for that. I'm up for taking on Winnie.
and working with Reese, what kind of style does he have? Does he give you a little leeway to kind of develop the character, or like what's that like?
Yeah. He's really generous in that. If you've got an idea about something, he's always going to sit there and listen to what you say. And bearing in mind, I mean, these films, and Winnie the Pooh in particular, was shot really quickly.
Yeah.
He doesn't as a director, he doesn't have a great deal of time for actors to go, maybe I think my character's a bit more like this. It's just like, oh man, just do it, So, but he's really patient, and he always listens. The only guidance that I got really is when I turned up and we did a run through quickly. I did make it comedy, and he was like, no, you've just got to play it straight. Just play it straight, and we'll get the laughs out of it, with the script and with the film. But you've got to play it straight, and that was quite difficult because it was so ludicrous.
And like so you find this advert, you apply, you get there, you start working. Did it feel different like than other projects maybe that you had worked on in the past? I know you said this was your first horror film, but something had to have felt interesting. It's Winnie the Pooh. Like, how did that feel like?
It it felt strange. It felt very very intimate actually. I mean I've done sort of short films and bigger films, and sort of like Hollywood films, like with huge budgets that just feel really really soulless. And this immediately felt, everyone was like in it together. So it actually felt really really friendly from the off, as opposed to like just being on a huge set with just feels soulless. It just immediately, as soon as you got there. And actually I knew one of the other guys that was in it as well, Richard. I've worked with him before. I wasn't aware that he was going to be turning up, so that was a nice surprise. He turned up and was like, oh yeah, there you
go. Yeah, I could tell from the viewer's perspective, you guys did seem like a group. Like you seemed like you guys were having fun. And at what point did you guys realize you had something special on your hands? Was it once the poster got released or the trailer got released, or was it immediate?
Yeah, well, it wasn't. For me, it wasn't immediate. I sort of like was a little bit more active on social media after we'd filmed that, and I realised that, oh, actually, this is gaining some traction now. I thought I'd better, become a bit more involved in it. And then I was like, geez, man, this is going crazy. This is absolutely crazy now. And it just snowballed, absolutely snowballed. And I'm saying, I mean, from Reese and Scott's point of view, I'm so chuffed for them. I've never known any guys work so hard as they do. I mean, they're just on it 24/7, and they deserve this. They really, really do.
Yeah, I think 30 films last year, and I mean we're already on course for so many more.
I mean I've already done another one with them this year. I did so since Winnie the Pooh, I'm starting another one next month or the month after. That's going to be number 5, and then of course we've got Bambi coming up, which I've got a part in that. That's number 6. I mean, it's just like really really going for it.
So before we move on to those other projects, I do want to ask, there's it seems to be like a lot of people are kind of on the fence about seeing this Winnie the Pooh film, and it's still showing here. So do you have maybe a message for the people that are like not so sure if it's for them, or like if they're on the fence, maybe give it a shot?
Yeah, it's a fun film. I think it achieves what it sets out to do, which is to be like a fun horror. If you're into Winnie the Pooh, and if you're into the Disney Winnie the Pooh, then just don't go and see it, because you're just going to go upset. But if you are going to go and see it, just go in with an open mind, or go in with the idea of having a bit of fun. If it's the same with any movie. If you go into a movie and before you get there you think, I'm not going to like this, or I'm going to I'm going to try and find as many things wrong with this as I possibly can, then you're just not going to enjoy it. But just go with an open mind. It was a small budget independent horror movie, and it's a solid horror movie. Just have fun with it. Just have fun, because it's meant to be fun. You're meant to go to the movies to have a good time. So if you want to have a good time, have a couple of beers with your friends, get down there and just have a laugh. Have a few scares and have a laugh. Just don't take everything so seriously.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. We had a great time. Everyone in the theater had a great time. I think for me, the way that I kind of sell it is that, sure, it'll be fun at home, but this particular film needs to be experienced in a group, or like as many people as possible. It just that experience seemed to kind of mean more to me as a viewer.
And with the sound as well, because Andrew did such a great job with the soundtrack. You need that big. It needs to that soundtrack needs to be big when you're watching it. Otherwise, it's going to lose a lot, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I thought that the soundtrack was probably my initial thought was like, how much did they spend of the budget on the soundtrack? It was wild. But jumping from that project to Bambi, I know that it's still early, but what can you tell me about that project? When did you get involved? Was it like, hey, you did good on Pooh, you know, do you want to maybe try this other one as well?
Yeah, so after Pooh, very soon after that, he called me and said, "Oh, I've got another part on a thing called Monsternado. If you're interested in that, you know." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." And then it was another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then about a month and a half ago or so, Scott just sent me a WhatsApp message. Was like, "Right, I'm doing Bambi. You know, are you in?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm in on that." But I know nothing about it, which is probably just as well, because I probably tend to blab or say something that I shouldn't. So yeah, I don't know anything about the story, apart from obviously it's nothing like the Disney one, and going back to the original story, A Life in the Woods, which is pretty dark actually. You know, it's the original story is a much darker retelling to what Disney done. I mean, Jesus, the Nazis burnt it in the Second World War. It's like, you know.
Well, like, so have you received your sides, or like have you guys? No. Okay, wow.
I've had nothing. I think Danielle and Chrissy, who you spoke to the other day,
Yep.
have been spoken to a bit more than I have about what they're doing, but we're all being kept very, very much in the dark with this at the moment. Which
Well,
is,
speaking of Danielle, you know, I just got off the phone with her right before we jumped in here. You know, she mentioned Monsternado, and she said to be sure to mention that to you, you know, because she thinks your performance was next level, and
oh,
that and
nice.
that the audience should be prepared, you know, to get to know the name Jase Rivers. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's really, really sweet. I love working with Danielle. She's great to work with, and that's really, really sweet. We had all our scenes were together basically, and yeah, we really click. I'm doing another one with her soon actually, so that's going to be nice. But yeah, she's great. Danielle's brilliant. I mean, she's an old hat at this. She really knows her stuff. So for someone like me that's like quite new to it, I'm just like, you know, like, is that all right? Is that all right? And, you know, should I do it like that? Should I do it like this? And she's just like, no, yeah, just do it. No, do it how you need to. So she's great to work with. I love Danielle.
I love to hear that. Yeah. Well, what can you tell us about that project? Because I know it's right around the corner. Get me
Yeah.
excited.
So I think is that might be September release on that. I think so. Monsternado. I think you've got to think Sharknado ×5 with with some various other beasties in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, that says it all. You know, can you talk a little bit about your role, or are we waiting
So,
closer?
yeah. So, well, I play my normal sort of role is usually peasant, junkie, or dodgy geezer, and I'm dodgy geezer in this one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I just play you know, you sort of your run of the mill, slick back, dodgy East End sort of villain type in it. So
Well, I
it was
like that's I like I like the self-awareness. The so you know, with Pooh, you know, and Bambi, and then, you know, now Monsternado, you know, you know, here, I think a lot of people are going to start to discover you. You know, you have 7 projects right now in production, not to mention the ones that are probably still on the hush. Is there anything that like stands out to you as like, this is my finest work, or like, where should fans go first?
uh, I don't know. I don't think my finest work's out yet.
Oh,
I really don't. I really don't. But yeah, but all these people. I mean, prior to doing this, I did 100+ movies doing background work.
yeah.
So I mean, like all these people are like, oh yeah, Winnie the Pooh. They've probably seen me half a dozen times in Marvel films, and you know, Doctor Dolittle and all these. You know, so I'm cropping up all over the place. So I don't know. I'm really proud of Monsternado.
Yeah.
Because you know, there was a lot of scenes. It was a great character. It was you know, really good to get a good part to get your teeth into. I just did the remake of Unhinged,
Yeah.
another movie, Unhinged. So I had a small part in the remake of Unhinged. That was quite a challenging part from an acting point of view to do. So but I'm proud of that. So that would be a good one to see. I think Monsternado up until now, I think is probably the performance that I'm most proud of.
Awesome.
Apart from the stuff that got left on, the stuff that I did that got left on the cutting room floor, and no one's ever going to see, where I thought I really nailed it, and then I go back and watch it, and it's like, oh god, I'm not in it.
Well, Danielle, like I said, she definitely gave you her blessing on Monsternado, so it made me very excited for that. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to mention? Where can the people find you? We want to keep up with Jase, man. Let us know what we can do.
Yeah. So I don't really do Twitter or any of that, but I do have an Instagram account, which is @JaseRivers70. So you can get me there, and I am really lazy with it, but I do try and update pictures every now and again. I'm not on it all the time, but yeah, every time we do a project, I'll be sort of like updating photos. So no doubt we'll be getting some BTS from Bambi and whatnot if I remember to get my phone out. We'll be getting some BTS, and failing that, no doubt Chrissy will do loads and loads of BTS.
Yeah, you gotta love Chrissy, man. Yeah,
she's on it. She's just on it. She's just like,
yeah, totally.
I get on set and I put my phone in my pocket and I forget to take it out, and then I get home and there's all these great behind the scenes shots that everyone's done. I was like, oh man, why didn't I get my camera out? It's like, why didn't I take a photo of something?
Yeah, I see. As soon as I get on set, I just like focus on my lines, and like, and it like bothers me that like other people aren't doing that, and I'm like, whatever, if it works for them, it works for them. But like, I'm like, how can you be so confident? Like, but like you said, there's some old hats, out there that have been doing this a lot longer than you and me. But yeah, that's really all I had for you, man. Here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing. And Jase, you are doing just fine. I really do appreciate your time. And I will be bothering you about Bambi as soon as you're on set, okay?
Mate, you can bother me as much as you like. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome, man. Well, take care. We'll see you soon, man.
Cheers. See you later, man.